Rare earth elements, a group of 17 metals, are the unsung heroes of our modern economy. Though you may never see them or even hear their names in everyday conversation, these elements are quietly at work behind the scenes, making possible much of the technology we rely on every day. From the moment you wake up and check your smartphone, to the electric vehicle you might drive, rare earths are there, powering the devices and systems that define modern life. Despite their name, they're not exceptionally rare. In fact, some are more abundant in the Earth's crust than copper. The real challenge lies in how they're distributed. Rare earths are rarely found in concentrated deposits, making extraction and processing complex and costly. This difficulty in sourcing them is what gives rise to their reputation for scarcity. Their unique chemical and physical properties make them indispensable for high-tech manufacturing. Rare earths enable the miniaturization and enhanced performance of countless devices, from the tiniest microchips to powerful magnets. Without them, the rapid pace of technological innovation we've come to expect would slow dramatically. Smartphones, electric vehicles, and wind turbines all rely on these elements. The vibrant colors on your phone's display, the long-lasting batteries in electric cars, and the efficient generators in wind turbines are all made possible by rare earths. They're also crucial for headphones, LED lights, and even medical imaging devices. As the world races toward a greener, more sustainable future, the demand for rare earth elements is only increasing. Solar panels, wind farms, and electric transportation all depend on a stable and reliable supply of these metals. Without them, the vision of a clean energy future would be much harder to achieve. Their strategic importance extends far beyond consumer electronics and green technology. In the realm of national defense, rare earths are critical for the production of precision-guided missiles, advanced fighter jets, and sophisticated radar systems. Modern military power is, in many ways, built on a foundation of these invisible elements. This makes their supply chain a matter of national security, leading to intense geopolitical competition. Countries around the world are racing to secure access to rare earth resources, knowing that control over these materials can translate into significant economic and strategic advantages. Disruptions in the supply of rare earths can ripple through entire industries, from automotive manufacturing to defense contracting, creating vulnerabilities that can be exploited during trade disputes or international tensions. The stakes are high, and the consequences of shortages can be felt across the globe. Today, rare earth elements have become a focal point in global power politics, turning what was once a niche mining sector into a critical arena of strategic rivalry. As nations vie for dominance in technology and defense, the invisible elements beneath our feet are shaping the future of our world in ways most of us never realize. China's dominance in the rare earth market is the result of a deliberate, decades-long strategy. Since the 1980s, China has heavily subsidized the industry, controlling production and undercutting global competitors. This strategy drove Western mines out of business, making industries reliant on Chinese supplies. China mastered the complex refining processes, handling the majority of global rare earth refining. This near monopoly extends to manufacturing high-performance magnets, giving China immense leverage over global industries. China's strategic advantage, built over 4 decades, has transformed rare earths into a powerful tool of economic and geopolitical influence. China's rare earth industry expansion came at a devastating environmental cost. Unregulated extraction methods left regions like Baotou and Jiangxi polluted with toxic sludge. Waste from processing facilities created a massive toxic reservoir, poisoning land and water. The government has begun cleanup efforts, closing illegal mines and consolidating the industry. These measures increase production costs, raising global rare earth prices. The true cost of cheap rare earths is now paid in poisoned land and water. China's control over the rare earth market has become a geopolitical trump card. This strategy allows Beijing to retaliate against perceived hostile actions, like trade tariffs. In 2010, China halted rare earth exports to Japan during a territorial dispute, causing chaos. China has since developed formal export controls, using them in trade wars with the U.S. This pattern shows China will leverage its dominance in critical minerals when pressured. The message is clear. Actions threatening China's interests could trigger a strategic response. In April 2025, the world was jolted by a dramatic move from China. the government imposed stringent export controls on rare earth elements and magnets, materials that are absolutely essential for modern technology. These rare earths are the backbone of everything from smartphones and electric vehicles to advanced military hardware and renewable energy systems. For years, China has dominated the global supply of these critical minerals, quietly becoming the linchpin of countless industries worldwide. Overnight, global supply chains were thrown into chaos. Factories in the United States, Europe, and beyond suddenly faced shortages, with shipments delayed or canceled altogether. This disruption sent shockwaves through boardrooms and government offices alike, serving as a stark wake-up call for the West. It became clear just how vulnerable the world had become to a single country's control over such vital resources. The impact was immediate and severe, especially for the automotive and renewable energy sectors. Electric vehicle assembly lines ground to a halt, wind turbine factories stood idle, and solar panel production slowed dramatically. These industries, which are at the heart of the global push for a cleaner future, suddenly found themselves at the mercy of geopolitical forces beyond their control. The crisis exposed just how fragile and interconnected these supply chains truly are. As the crisis unfolded, it became clear that the clean energy transition is deeply intertwined with geopolitics. World leaders gathered at emergency summits, urgently discussing how to secure access to the minerals needed for a sustainable future. The situation underscored that energy security is no longer just about oil and gas, it's about rare earths and critical minerals too. In Washington, Brussels, and other Western capitals, policymakers recognized the crisis as a direct challenge to their nation's economic security and technological leadership. The realization set in that relying so heavily on a single supplier for such crucial materials was a strategic vulnerability that could no longer be ignored. In response, governments and companies accelerated efforts to build alternative supply chains. New mining projects were fast-tracked in Australia, Canada, and Africa. Engineers raced to develop advanced mineral processing plants outside of China, aiming to reduce dependency and create a more resilient global network for critical minerals. The events of April 2025 marked a true turning point. Investors poured billions into mining and processing ventures, while politicians announced sweeping new funding packages and policy reforms. The crisis galvanized both financial and political will, sparking a new era of innovation and collaboration across the West. Today, the West is more determined than ever to break free from China's grip on critical minerals. From new mines to cutting-edge research labs, a global effort is underway to secure the resources that will power the technologies of tomorrow and ensure that the clean energy transition is both sustainable and secure. The United States is in the midst of a high-stakes effort to rebuild its rare earth supply chain, a move driven by growing concerns over China's overwhelming dominance in this critical sector. For decades, the U.S. relied heavily on imports, but recent geopolitical tensions and supply disruptions have exposed the risks of this dependence. Now, the nation is racing to regain control over the materials that power everything from smartphones and electric vehicles to advanced military technology. Recognizing the strategic importance of rare earth elements, the U.S. government has officially designated them as critical minerals. This designation has unlocked a wave of federal funding, incentives, and policy support aimed at jump-starting domestic production and processing. Lawmakers and agencies are working together to streamline permitting, invest in research, and encourage private sector innovation, all with the goal of reducing America's vulnerability to foreign supply shocks. The national strategy is multifaceted. It includes reshoring mining operations, fostering public-private partnerships, and strengthening alliances with like-minded nations. By bringing together engineers, industry leaders, and policymakers, the U.S. hopes to build a robust ecosystem that can compete on the global stage. International collaboration is also key, as the country seeks to share expertise and resources with trusted partners. At the heart of this resurgence is the Mountain Pass mine in California, the only active rare earth mine in the country. Once nearly shuttered, Mountain Pass has received significant investment to modernize its operations and increase output. The mine is now a symbol of America's determination to reclaim its place in the rare earth industry, providing a domestic source of these vital materials. Downstream, companies like Energy Fuels in Utah are stepping up to refine rare earth oxides, a crucial step in the supply chain. Their goal is to expand production capacity and develop advanced processing techniques, reducing the need to send materials overseas for finishing. This not only creates jobs but also strengthens the entire value chain within U.S. borders. Beyond its borders, the U.S. is forging deeper collaborations with allies such as Australia and Canada. These partnerships are designed to diversify supply chains, share best practices, and ensure a steady flow of rare earths even in times of global uncertainty. By working together, these nations aim to reduce collective reliance on any single supplier. A notable example is the partnership with Australia's Lynas Rare Earths, which has resulted in the construction of a new processing plant in Texas. This facility represents a major step forward in building a fully integrated supply chain, from raw material extraction to final product manufacturing, all on American soil. Through these combined efforts, domestic investment, international cooperation, and technological innovation, the U.S. is working to create a secure and resilient rare earth supply network. The ultimate goal is to insulate the nation from external pressures and ensure a stable supply of the materials that are essential for the technologies of today and tomorrow. The EU, heavily reliant on imports, was impacted by China's export controls. Brussels responded with a dual approach of diplomatic engagement and strategic fortification. Talks with Beijing led to a tentative agreement to ease export restrictions. The EU remains concerned about its trade deficit and China's market practices. The Critical Raw Materials Act aims to increase EU capacity across the value chain. The act sets targets for mining, processing, and recycling strategic raw materials by 2030. This strategy mirrors the American approach, tailored to the EU's needs and structure. Achieving independence from China's rare earth supply chain is a Herculean task. The West faces technical, economic, and environmental challenges in building a supply network. Rebuilding industrial capacity requires enormous investment and government support. Environmental standards add time and expense to new projects, slowing progress. The expertise for rare earth processing has been concentrated in China for decades. The West must build capacity in the midstream and downstream stages of the supply chain. Without this, dependency on China for valuable parts of the ecosystem will persist. The path to independence requires sustained commitment and overcoming formidable challenges. The global contest for rare earth control has entered a critical phase. The U.S. and allies must build an independent supply chain quickly to mitigate vulnerability. China's lead, built over decades, won't be easily overcome. Recent investments are significant but represent only initial steps. China's deep integration allows it to influence prices and supply at every stage. The West's success depends on sustained political and financial support. Diversification and de-risking can achieve security, creating a buffer against Chinese coercion. The race is long, but the West is no longer a passive spectator in this global competition.